Hi, Princeton Tigers. Our next unit after our equation unit that we just finished up is going to be talking about lines. So it's graphing lines, finding the slope of lines, and then how to graph lines in real life situations. So today we're just going to be introducing the concept of the slope of a line. So you guys all know what a line is. A line is a line that goes from one point to another. And lines can look like anything. They can be in that direction. They can look like this. They can be straight up and down. They can be horizontal. All of these are lines. So when you draw a line, every line that you draw has a slope. So let's look at this first line that I drew. The slope is the steepness. So the slope is the steepness of the line. How steep is this line? Imagine that this line draws a hill. So if this is a hill, is this a steep hill or not a very steep hill? It's a pretty steep hill. Imagine a person walking up this line. It would be pretty hard to walk up the direction of this line because it's really steep. If you draw a line that's a little bit more shallow or less steep, then it's easier to walk up because it's not as steep. So this has a big slope, and then the more shallow line has a small slope, because the slope is just telling us how steep the line is. Now we're going to be defining slope in more mathematical terms. So the slope of a line is how steep the line is, or it can be also written as the rate of increase of a line. Which we'll talk about this more, but slope is also equal to the rise over the run. Sorry, that didn't come up very well. And we'll talk about what this means more in the next few days. But it's rise over run. And then, which can also be written as the change in y over the change in x. Over the change in x. So get these in your notes. When we look at slope, there are different types of slope. We're not just talking about how steep the line is, but we're also talking about whether it's positive or negative. A positive slope means that you're increasing, so both y and x are getting bigger. So if you look at this line, the x value or the horizontal value is getting bigger, and so is the y value. So this is a positive slope, which I'll write positive for this one, but you can also just signify it by putting a plus sign for positive. Imagine a person on this line is walking up. They'd be walking up the hill because it's increasing. So the line is increasing. You can also have a line with a negative slope, which we'll just signify with a subtraction sign. If you imagine somebody walking on this line, they would be walking down the hill. They would be decreasing. And this is because both y, our vertical, and our horizontal, or our vertical is decreasing and our horizontal is increasing. For the third line, the one that we could have is a zero slope. So this line is flat. This means that there is no increase happening. So the slope of this line is just zero. We'll be talking more about this lines with Miss Mack, but just an introduction to the types. The next question is asking you which line is bigger. So draw these two lines, or two lines that look similar to these, on your paper. So if we look at these two lines, we're trying to figure out which line is larger, which also means which line is steeper, which one is increasing at a faster rate. I'm going to picture this the way we were picturing it before, like somebody walking up a hill. If you have somebody walking up the hill on this blue line, it's not that steep of a hill. They can walk up that pretty easily. But if you're on this line and you're walking up a hill, it's really steep. So that means that this one has a bigger slope. So if this was line A and this was line B, line A has the bigger slope. Let's try another example. Draw two lines that look like this on your graph. If the first one is line A and the second one is line B, tell me which one has the bigger slope. The correct answer is line A because it is steeper. Looking at the third one, again, draw two lines on your paper. The first one on top is line A, the second one is line B. Which line has a bigger slope? The correct answer is line B because it has, even though it's still not a big slope, it has a bigger incline than line A. What is the slope of line A? What do we talk about when you have a flat line? The slope of that line is 0 because it's completely flat, it's not increasing at all. Finally, just quickly, let's review one or two equation problems. So we have this first equation. We're trying to get x by itself. What do we need to do to get x by itself? We can start by adding 2 on both sides. That adding 2 undoes the minus 2, so we're left with 5x equals 15. We're still trying to get x by itself. This operation is multiplication, so we need to undo it with division. You're left with x equals 3. Next one, I'll start you guys off and then you're going to finish it up. You're trying to get rid of that plus 1, so subtract 1 on both sides of the equation. I just drew that line to separate the two sides of the equation where the equal sign is. You're left with 4x equals 9. Finish up that problem. You can use the calculator if you need to, and then do the third one. You're also going to be doing the next page of the packet by yourself. Stop when you get to the guided practice with Ms. Mack.